Okay, so the stayman convention. Who can define what a convention is? Anybody want to take a stab?
Kind of a rule of thumb type thing.
Well, a convention is a bid that does not convey the meaning that it would naturally. So the stayman convention is a two-club bid over a one-no-trump opening. So the responder bids 2 clubs. What that means, it doesn't mean anything about the club suit. It doesn't mean, partner, I have some clubs and so many points. It has an artificial meaning. Okay? And in the stayman convention, two clubs by the responder over one no-trump is asking for a 4-card major. What that bid literally means is, partner, I have an invitational hand and I want to know if you have a 4-card major. If you do, please bid it. That's essentially what you're saying when you're bidding 2 clubs in the stayman convention. Right? To use the stayman convention, now I want to be very clear on this because it deviates from the book slightly, and I'll show you where it changes. Because there's a different way we're going to address the situation. To use the stayman convention, first of all, it's used only by the responder over a 1 no-trump opening or a 2 no-trump opening by the partner. You must have an invitational hand. So over 1 no-trump, an invitational hand is how many points? 8 or 9. You've got to have some chance of going to game. If you have less than 8, you don't use the stayman convention. And you must have at least 1 4-card major. If you do not have a 4-card major, do not use the stayman convention initially. Okay? You don't use the stayman convention at all. You could have 2 4-card majors. You could have a 4-card major and a 5-card major. You could have a 4-card major and a 7-card major. You use the stayman convention first. All right? If you have a 5-card major and no other, not a 4-card major, 3, 2, 1, a 5-card major by itself, you would not use the stayman convention. Now that's in the book, and we're going to use transfers, which we'll talk about next week, to cover that situation. Okay? So, this is what you have to use the stayman convention. Now, the opener's rebid is part of the convention. The opener, when he rebids or she rebids, has no choice but to answer the question that your partner has posed to you. Your partner says, partner, do you have a 4-card major? If so, bid it. If you have no 4-card major, you say, partner, no, I don't. And the way you do that is to bid 2 diamonds. If you have a 4-card heart major and possibly a 4-card spade major, you could have both, but if you have a 4-card heart major, you say, partner, yes. In fact, I have 4 hearts. You bid 2 hearts. And if you have 4 spades and not 4 hearts, you bid 2 spades. These are the only 3 possible responses to 2 clubs. You should not even have to think about it. You don't need to ponder it. It's either, no, I don't, yes, I have hearts, yes, I have spades. Okay? Is everybody clear on that? It's just the basic convention. And by the way, the opener cannot pass 2 clubs. That's an artificial bid. You must respond, and you must respond one of these 3. Okay? So let's just go through this real briefly. I know many of you are familiar with this. Your partner has opened 1 no-trump. This is your hand. We're going to talk about these 4 hands. So this is the first hand. Your partner opened 1 no-trump. What did you bid here?
2 spades.
2 spades.
Okay, we're talking about the stayman point.
2 clubs.
You opened 1 no-trump, and this is your hand.
How
Okay?
many points?
Do you have a 4-card major?
Yes.
How many points do you have?
10.
More than 8.
You have more than 8, right?
Yeah.
So you bid 2 clubs.
Okay, you're the responder.
This is the responder's hand. Your partner has opened 1 no-trump. This guy's passed, and now it's your turn. This is your hand.
2 clubs.
You bid 2 clubs.
I thought it had to be between 8 and 9.
No, at least 8.
Oh,
At
8
least
and
8.
9.
Must have at least.
But it could be higher.
It could be all the way up. Okay. But if you don't have 8, you don't do it. If you have 8 or more, you use stayman. Okay? All right, so the bidding here goes 1 no-trump passed. You can use stayman here, right?
Yes.
You should use stayman there. You have a 4-card major. All right, now I'm going to regress slightly here. What's the big deal about finding a 4-card major? Why is that a big deal?
Go with the bid.
Well, you want to go and bid, but why is that important? Why not just bid bid all of them no trump? Okay, let me give you an example, all right? So let's say your partner has this hand. Let's look at this hand. That's a nice one no trump opening hand, right? Everybody agree with that? If you had that hand, would you open one no trump? Right here. You've got 4, 8, 12, 17 points. One no trump, right? Okay, now so let's say this is my hand. Now this is your hand, okay? I open one no trump and you're holding this hand. You've got 11 high card points. What happens if you bid 3 no trump?
You go down.
A lot, right? Why would you go down?
You
You cannot stop clubs. Okay, you have 28 points, but you don't want to be in no trump. So this is why you use stayman. Right here, you've got 2 4-card majors, so 1 no trump, 2 clubs. You know, you've got them both. He's going to say 2 hearts, then you're going to bid 4 hearts. But that's why you want to find the 8-card fit in case you have a weak suit somewhere. Okay. Plus the 4-4 fit and the 8 and a major place generally better than no trump unless you have all suits really solidly covered. Okay, so once again, your partner opened 1 no trump, the opponent passed, now you're holding this hand right here. You have a 4-card major,
That's
you
not-
have 9 points, and you pass in that hand. How about this one right here? Sure, you bid 2 clubs, right? You've got 2 4-card majors and you have enough points. You've got 9 points, right? So you can bid 2 clubs there. In fact, you should bid 2 clubs there. How about this one? How many points you have?
No, 2 down. But you don't have a 4-card major.
You don't have a 4-card major, so you are not going to use stayman, right? How many points do you have?
10.
What kind of hand do you have? Balanced or unbalanced? How many points does your partner have?
15 to 17.
So if he has 15, the lowest possible, and you have 10, how many is that? So what do you bid?
3 no.
3 no trump. You got game. If you have game as the responder, do not invite. Your partner may pass. If you bid 2 no trump there and your partner passes, you're saying, why did I do that? Go directly to game. There's no reason to ask any more questions. Does everyone see that? Do not give your partner an invitational bid if you know you have game. I can't emphasize that enough. What?
At least.
If you have game or more, right? If you know if you know the total count between the 2 of you, the minimum it can be, and it totals 25 or more, do not give your partner an invitational bid. Make a forcing bid or go to game directly. Okay? Now, the bidding is gone. 1 no trump. You open 1 no trump. Your partner bid 2 clubs, the stayman convention, right? And these are your hands. How do you respond to the stayman convention? Remember, this is all part of the convention to this point. So the bidding, your partner's bid the stayman 2 clubs. You hold this hand. What do you bid? 2 hearts. You bid the lower one first, right? How about here?
2 diamonds.
2 diamonds. You have 4-card major, right?
Right.
Right. How about here?
2 spades.
What about all these cool hearts?
They'll take tricks.
They'll take tricks. They sure will. I hope. All right, so you bid 2 spades here, even though you don't have a face card in spades. All right? He's got 15, 17 points. Chances are, if he's got spades, he's got some of these cards for you. All right, so this is just the basic of it. All right? When your partner bids 1 no trump, do 2 things, just automatically. How many points do I have? Do we have any chance of game? If you have 7 or less, the answer is no. All right? If you have 8 or more, you either have an invite to game or a game. It's your responsibility as the responder to figure out where it's going to go. All right? So, yes, I have an invitational hand. The next question, invitational hand. The next question is, do I have a 4-card major? Why, guess what? Yes, I do. Okay? And if you meet those 2 parameters, you bid 2 clubs. Okay?
I got a question for you.
Yes.
The hand that we had the hearts and the spades were done.
Which one?
The second hand.
First, this one?
No, next one.
This one?
What do you bid on that?
No.
Have you
No,
had
no, the
some?
first one, you're talking, the very first.
This one?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
And so, if your partner goes back 3 no trump, Do you assume that he has?
Yeah, we'll talk about that over here. You know he has to have at least one four-card major, and since it wasn't hearts, it has to be spades. So you can take him into spades.
Oh, okay.
And we'll go over that in more detail over here. That's a very good point. All right, so that's the fundamental. Now where it gets a little juicier is when the rebid by the responder. Okay, now the responder has gathered the information. Okay, I know I have an invitational red or hand. I know my partner either does have my suit or doesn't have my suit. Can't be anything in between. Yes, he does, or no, he doesn't. All right. So in this instance, the partner bids your suit. All right. So it's called your suit is spades here. This is the responder's hand. You've got spades. All right. Partner, he goes window, trump, passion, bid 2 clubs. Your partner says, partner, I got 4 spades. All right. Now what do?
4 spades. Go down.
Okay. It's very simple. If you have 17 or more points, if you have 10 or more points, you go to game. If you have 8 or 9, you invite. Okay? So you know your suit is spades. You agree with that. You're not worried about these hearts anymore. All right? So he matched your suit, one of the 2 you have. So you're in spades. It's just a matter of how many. You've got more than 10 points. He's got at least 15. 4 spades. Right? In this instance, 6, 7. You're going to be the dummy. 8 points for the doubleton. Okay? You may have game if he has 17, right? But you don't know. So you don't take it to game. You bid 3 spades, inviting him to bid game if he has the high end. Okay? See that distinction? If you know you have game, bid it. If you could have game but are not sure, make an invitational bid. Okay? Everyone clear on that? Okay, that's when the partner has bid the major suit you wanted to hear. Now, a lot of times, guess what? That's not going to happen. You have spades or hearts and he has the opposite or neither. So what do you bid? Your partner has bid either 2 diamonds or the wrong major. So in this instance, you have hearts. Okay? This is the responding hand. With one no trump, and with this hand, you bid 2 clubs. Okay? Then it gets back around to your partner. You want to hear 2 hearts, but he doesn't cooperate. Instead, he bids either 2 diamonds, saying, I have no majors, right? Or he bids 2 spades, which is not hearts. So that's no good either, right? So what do you do in that instance? Okay, you have 1 or 2, possible 1 or 2 bids. If he doesn't match your suit, your next bid is going to either be 2 no trump or 3 no trump. That's it, okay? When do you bid 2 no trump? You have an invitational hand, 8 or 9 points. When do you bid 3 no trump? When you got game. So you know you don't have the 8-card fit, at least not at hearts. But you do know you have game. Okay, so in this hand, you've got 8 points. Okay, you bid what? You bid 2 no trump. So,
Okay, but those are balanced hands. What
Right.
if it was totally unbalanced?
well, it's probably going to get into transfers and things, and we'll talk about that next week. Okay? You want to give me an example?
Well, it has 5 clubs.
5 clubs? Okay?
Okay. 4 hearts. 2 spades, and 3 diamonds.
I would still...
That's still relevant, that's balanced still. So I
That's
take
just- that's
take
not-
1 away from spades and make it 4.
Well, you actually would have this.
Oh, too many cards.
Yeah. So I would still, with this configuration, I would still bid 2 clubs, looking for the 8-card.
No, I'm talking about after the 2 clubs. If
You
he
bid
denies
those?
your,
No.
denies your hearts,
No, you don't bid this.
no, so what would you do?
You bid 2 no trump.
You still bid 2 no?
Yeah, yes. If the hand is extremely imbalanced, we'll probably be talking about transfers, which we're talking about
Particularly if
next
it's
week.
in a major.
Yes, well, majors are minors,
Or
particularly
you
in
can
the majors.
transfer to minor.
Particularly in the majors, you're correct. Okay, so let's move on here. So I want to get through this part as quickly as can to give a lot of room for the hands. All right, so does everybody understand this? I know I'm jumping back and forth between the opener and the responder, but I just want to logically move up. So in this instance, you're the responder, you've been stayman. Your partner has responded in the wrong suit, or no, denied having a full card major. Your only two possible bids are 2 no trump or 3 no trump.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, all right? You bid 2 no trump if you have an invitational hand, 8 points. So this hand would bid 2 no trump afterwards. This hand would bid 3 no trump. You've got 6, 9, 11 points. You have enough for game, right? So you just go to game. All right, does everyone understand that? Okay. Now you put your opener shoes, boots back on. Okay, you're the opener. You're the person who bid 1 no trump. Okay, look at, all right, now, if you're the opener and your partner has taken it to game, you're done, right? Unless you're done.
Unless you've got a big hand.
Well, you don't, because you're the opener. You've got 15 to 17 points. If the responder has a big hand, then the responder can keep doing stuff, but the responder has to make forcing bids.
Okay.
And once again, let me regress just a little bit. We're talking about a convention, a stayman convention. And I know a lot of you, there's conventions all over the place, hundreds of them. And you may have read some and tried some out and all of this. I highly suggest, and I recommend this very strongly, you definitely need to know stayman, and you definitely need to know the Jacoby transfers, which we're going to talk about next week. And you probably need to know Blackwood. Is everybody familiar with Blackwood?
No.
If you're not, you should look it up. It's a slam try type of bid where you're asking for aces. You should know those 3. Okay? And that's it for now. Okay? Don't start adding conventions. All they will do will confuse you until you have everything we've talked about the last few weeks down solid. All right? Learn stayman, Jacoby transfers, and possibly Blackwood, and stop until you're totally comfortable with all of that. Okay? Once you're comfortable, you'll look through them, see what the experts recommend for the next one. Negative doubles comes up a lot. Then add one at a time to your arsenal. Make sure both you and your partner are totally comfortable with it before you start using it. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes with them. But that's the way, in my opinion, you add conventions. Right? You don't need a bunch of conventions. You can do great just with what we've been talking about the last few weeks, the stayman convention and Jacoby transfer. You can play with anybody. Right. All right.
You just said that the partner takes you to game in a suit, or are you just saying takes you to game?
Game, just game. If it's 3 no trump, it's 3 no trump.
Because again, that 2 suited hand, you would have been 4 spades, though, right?
Well, we'll get to that. Okay.
So if
There's a very specific example of that. All right. Right here. We'll talk about it. All right. All right. Now you're the opener, and your partner has taken you to game. He said, "Okay, partner, I'm still not sure." He's giving you an invitational bid, right? An invitational bid could be 2 no trump. That's an invitational bid, right? Or it could be 3 of one of the majors, 3 hearts or 3 spades. So 2 no trump, 3 hearts, and 3 spades are invitational bids. He's saying, partner, if you've got the high end, take us to game. If not, be careful. Precisely, if you're the opener and you get an invitational bid and you have 17 points, you bid game. You don't even have to think about it, just bid game. Your partner has at least 8. Conversely, if you're the opener and you have 15 points, you pass. Because the most you can have is 15 and 9. That's not enough. So the top end and the bottom end are very straightforward. If you have the maximum, you accept the invitation. If you have the minimum, you deny the invitation. What happens if you have the middle? You've got 16. What do you think? Okay, there's a lot of subjectivity here. Okay, and we'll talk about that just a little bit. I want to make sure you understand the concept here. So the bidding here has gone, let's see, where did I put it?
1 no trump, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds.
Right. Okay, so the bidding here has gone 1 no trump, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, two no trump. Two no trump, okay? What do you bid here?
Three no trump.
You accept the invitation, right? What do you do here?
Pass.
What do you do here?
I think I passed because of the
Pass.
two bad cards in one suit.
I would give it three.
Actually, I disagree. I think because you have this long suit, that you can probably have a good shot. Plus you got an outside ace here. Plus this is not bad, okay? So I would bid three no trump personally. I look at this long suit as a bonus, an extra thing. It's very subjective though. I mean,
Well, I always hate getting burned by never even getting the lead in no trump because they've just run
right,
down.
that's definitely possible. And it happens a lot, not a lot, but some. But you can't base your bidding strategy over the fact that you went down yesterday bidding going by the rules. You just keep going because the percentages say this is the right thing to do.
So the 16 points would be kind of look at your hand.
You have to assess your hand, okay? What I look at, if I have a fifth card in a suit, and if it's a strong suit, I say, okay, that's good, all right? That's a good thing to have. This ace is a good thing to have. You have three quick tricks in this hand. That's a lot, okay? So to me, this is definitely three no trump, all right? Let's look at this. In this instance, the bid is three spades. So the invitational bid here is three spades. Okay. So here, you've already decided spades is the trump suit. So how many points you have there? 17. So you just bid four spades, right? Here you have 15. Passed. Okay, here you are in this murky land again. Okay, three spades to you right here.
But you got a queen there.
Now, here you got.
Two, three quick tricks plus honors and spades.
That looks pretty good, right? With all these quick tricks. The main thing, if you have a lot of, let me see if I can put it in here. Let's say your hand is your spades and you're like this, and you've got the queen and the 7 and the 2. You've got a bunch of 3s and 4s and 6s and stuff like that. And then the hand's not too good. You just got honors scattered throughout the suits. It's better if the honors are bunched in one suit. But once again, it's subjective. Look at your hand. The more balanced your hand is, actually that works against you, particularly this, where you're in spades.
Yeah, if you're in spades, your balance hurts. Yeah.
And I would think that depending if the part, your opponent's bid, that might help you make up your mind.
Yeah, generally, I mean, opponents, particularly if you get into the higher level games, they're gonna mess this up. They're gonna jump in and throw all kinds of bids to mess you up. A lot of times in the more earlier games, there's not a lot of interference. You just get to talk back and forth, which is good because it allows you to really learn to develop that particular convention. You're correct. If your opponents have bid something, if somebody jumped in with one no trump, 2 diamonds, they have a lot of diamonds, right? So unless you have some diamonds, you may be a little leery of no trump.
On that last hand, could you bid 3 no trump instead of 4 spades?
Now you've already got 8 spades, so you would do spades.
So you're at 3 spades,
Now
right?
some of the gurus say that if you have a 4-3-3-3 distribution, you shouldn't use stayman. But I wouldn't advise that at this point. Just get it down solid in your mind. Okay, so you're looking for the 8 card fit in the major suit. And let's go over this one more time, and I'll give you 2 sort of exceptions here. The convention is 2 clubs over 1 no trump. It is asking your partner for a 4-card major. To use it, you must have at least an invitational hand. It can be higher, and you must have at least 1 4-card major. If you do not have a 4-card major, do not use stayman. Okay? There's other things to do, and we'll talk about the one that comes up the most next week that we transfer. All right, so is everyone relatively comfortable with these bids? You've got, we're clear on when to use it and how to respond. The opener's rebid is always one of these 3 things. Sometimes you'll have an opening hand of 15 to 17 points, and you don't have a 4-card major. The instinct is to jump to 3 no trumps sometimes. Don't do that. Three no trump is not one of the opener's rebids, which is part of the convention. Your partner may have more to tell you. So don't preempt your partner there by jumping to three no trump. All right? Bid two diamonds and then let your partner guide the auction. All right? So when to use it or when not to, the opener's rebid after the partner has bid stayman two clubs. What to do when the partner bids your suit, that's what you're hoping for. You're either going to be in the game in that suit or not. Okay? The partner bids the wrong major or two diamonds. You're going to bid some number of no trump next. Okay? And then depending upon if your partner gives you an invitation to bid, the opener will respond based upon the total of the points. If you have the maximum, you always accept the invitation. If you have the minimum, you always deny the invitation. If you have 16, you hope for the best. Okay. All right, two other situations that come up when using stayman convention. Okay, the first one, the one that James has been referring to, I think. Let me see. I've got it right. Okay. So you're the opener. This is your hand. Okay? So you got 6, 7, 8, 14, 17 points. You got 4 hearts and 4 spades. Okay? So you open one no trump, right? Opponent's pass, your partner bids 2 clubs, saying, partner, you have a 4-card major. This is your hand. What do you respond?
2 hearts.
You respond 2 hearts, even though you also have 2 spades. Remember, 2 heart bids means you have 4 hearts and possibly 4 spades. All right, so you bid 2 hearts. And your partner jumps 3 no trump. Okay? He says, partner, we're playing in game. I've got 10 points. What do you, as the opener, also know?
That you have
Spades.
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 All right. The answer is correct. You know your partner, the person who bid 2 clubs, has 4 spades. How do you know that?
Because if you had your
All right. To bid stayman, you have to have a 4-card major, right? We established that. When you bid hearts, he says, nope, that ain't it. Okay, right? He bids some number of no trumps. So hearts is not his suit. That leaves one other suit that he has 4 of, right? Spades. He's got 4 spades. You can take it to the bank, right? So you know what your 4-card fit is here. Or 8-card fit, rather. So after this, you bid 4 spades.
Why didn't he go 2 spades?
Because that's not how the stayman convention works. Okay?
Oh, to answer back.
If he bids 2 spades, you're in this situation here, which we'll talk about.
I mean, after you said 2 hearts, he comes, instead of 3 no trump, what if he come 2 spades?
Then he made a silly bid.
Okay.
Okay?
Like,
Because by bidding 3 no trump, he's saying, partner, we're in game, and you should know by the fact that he asked you for majors that if he doesn't have hearts, he has to have spades. Okay? And so since you know he has spades, because your partner always tells the truth, right? You bid 4 spades.
And also, he's giving you a point count, saying.
Right, he's saying we have game. He's taking all the question out where you should be, we're in game. He's put it in game.
And the opener also has 4 spades.
Well, you have to have 4 spades, or you just leave it in 3 no trump.
What if you have the hand I was talking about over there, but you only have 3 spades?
Which one are you talking
The very first one over there, and you have 4 to the.
about? Tell me when to stop.
Keep going.
Right there.
This one?
Oh, no.
This one?
No, the one you said, where's this one? That was the first one. That one there.
Yeah.
But say you only had 3 spades,
Okay.
and your partner jumps up and bids,
Where's the other card go?
either.
Okay, so I'll put it here.
Yeah. Doesn't really matter. So, and your partner jumps up 3 no trump, and you don't have a stopper,
You done?
you still pass.
Yes, you do. You've got 25 combined points. You're not, most of the time, 85% of the time, you're going to have stoppers in all the suits because you have that many points. There will be times when you lay down your hand and you've got two little diamonds in your hand and the dummy has the queen and one, and guess what? You're going to go down if they make the right lead, but you still bid the hand correctly. You cannot account for every possible situation. You just need to go with the percentages of what works in the majority of the cases. And this works 85% of the time. You'll end up in the right contract. That's better than guessing. Well, it may not be working this time. I better try something. You're just going to